As we let our own light shine, we indirectly give others permission to do the same. Marianne Williamson. Marianne Williamson is an American self-help author, spiritual leader, and political activist. She rose to prominent national fame as a frequent guest and spiritual advisor on the Oprah Winfrey's talk show. Welcome back to Light and Shadow. I'm your host, JF. And I titled today's episode, The Danger of Forced Positivity, where I will be exploring the delicate and often misunderstood dance between spiritual light and the human shadow. Introduction, what I call how unexamined light hinders healing. In the quest for inner peace, many of us are drawn to the light. We seek out positivity, love, and spiritual ascension. But true spirituality isn't about ignoring the dark. It's about understanding it. As the famous Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung wrote, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of lights, but by making the darkness conscious. Today, we're going to discuss what this means for your spiritual journey. How can the light within you heal others? And surprisingly, how can your light actually become a hindrance if left unexamined? Chapter 1, what I call the trap of forced light. Let's start with the danger of the light. Many spiritual psychologists call spiritual bypassing. It's the use of spiritual beliefs and practices to avoid dealing with painful feelings, unresolved wounds, and fundamental human needs. We've all met someone who is so focused on positive thinking that they completely dismiss valid anger, grief, or fear. They shine so brightly on the surface that it casts a pitch black shadow underneath them. Psychologist Carl Jung warned us about this when he observed everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. When we only focus on the good or the light, we repress parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable, like our anger or jealousy, our grief. And what happens when we repress those things? They don't disappear. They take control of our behavior from the unconscious, dictating our reactions and ruining our relationships. We might think we are being perfectly spiritual, but our unacknowledged shadow is actually harming the people around us. Chapter 2, what I call integrating the shadow. If avoiding the darkness is a trap, how do we fix it? We must bring the light of our awareness into the shadows. The beloved spiritual teacher Ram Dass famously said, "The spiritual journey is individual. No one can walk it for you. There is no one to push you into the path. You do it yourself. And in the doing of it, you discover that the path is you." To discover the whole path, you must be willing to acknowledge your own flaws, triggers, and past trauma. When you feel a sudden surge of jealousy or deep irritation towards a friend or colleague, don't immediately push it away in the name of spiritual niceness. Instead, lean into it. Ask yourself why this person is triggering you. When you perceive your light and shadow simultaneously, you see yourself from two sides and you step in the middle. This is balance. This is the essence of psychological and spiritual integration. You aren't destroying your darkness. You are learning to understand it so it no longer controls you. Chapter 3, what I call how your light can help. Once you have bravely faced your own darkness, your light becomes profoundly powerful. True spiritual light isn't a blinding artificial brightness. It's the warmth of deep self-compassion. When you have done your own inner work, you no longer need to project your insecurities onto others. You become a safe space for people to be themselves. As the pioneer of humanistic psychology, Carl Rogers noted, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." And I can tell you from personal experience that this is absolutely true. When you integrate your shadows, you give the others implicit permission to do the same. Your light helps people heal because you look at their struggles not with judgment, but with understanding. You become a beacon that illuminates the pathways of their own darkness rather than just telling them to ignore it. Conclusion, what I call illuminating the dark. As we wrap today's episode of Light and Shadow, I want to leave you with one final thought from Carl Jung, who perfectly summarized this dual nature of our existence. And I quote, "To confront a person with his shadow is to show him his own light." So the next time you feel frustrated, angry, or disappointed with yourself, don't try to hide it. Don't try to hide from it. Bring your awareness to it. Ask yourself what needs to be healed. True spiritual wholeness is found not by living in perpetual sunshine, but by learning how to gracefully dance with both the light and the shadows. This brings me to my weekly reminder. How have you shared your light this week? For me, this podcast and answering your messages is partly how I share my light. If I can help just one of you today, I have reached my goal. I encourage you to share your light with your families, neighbors, community, coworkers, and especially strangers. Thank you for walking through the light and shadows with me today. If this episode helped you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And remember, you deserve peace, you deserve safety, and you are deeply loved. Until next time, take care of your heart and soul. And as always, I wish you love, light, and shadows. Until next week.